Recording in progress.
Go ahead.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America,
To the republic which stands one
nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So Jordan, are you doing roll call then?
I can, yes. From me.
Sorry, I'm trying to do prayer. For you. You had that way.
Oh, there's a nice pair. You want it fun?
No, I'm fine, I really am.
How long is this meeting tonight?
Not very long.
Hang on.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
like I'll move it.
Mayor Fallon,
Here.
right, Chair Pruitt,
Here.
Committee Member Bump,
Here.
Committee Member Seegard, Committee Member Wanzinger,
Here.
Councilor Emmeline Beggar,
Here.
okay, Councilor Compton,
Here.
Councilor Miller. Committee Member Syke. Okay, Councilor Keller.
Here.
Okay, and community member Bataccio and Councilor Happy are unable to attend.
Okay. Did you get it again?
All right, so I went back through the sewer fund numbers as requested by the budget committee. It is a lot to go through. So I'll start with the email I sent. I copied and pasted it into this landscape Word document because the formatting wasn't working right. So we look back at each deposit, journal entry, and project monitoring report, which is put together by McCad, who oversaw the project. We determine amounts and placements. Much of the payments were placed in the wrong GL code, including some not even in the sewer fund. We have corrected them to the correct or most likely spot. A spreadsheet of the PMRs and coordinating payments and what GL code they should have been entered into is attached. Also in the spreadsheet are numerous numbers presented during the budget committee meeting and updated numbers with corrections. One major issue is not enough revenue lines for the project created. There should have been 6 total revenue lines for the project, only 4 were created. A breakdown of where funds have been placed based off the 4 lines we have. And then what the 6 should have been based off the numbers we had. The Business Oregon loan and grant were combined into the IFA sewer line. The CBDG and the USDA rural development grants are combined in the CBDG grant line. The DEQ and USDA loans are separate as they have their own lines. The USDA loan will be a one-time lump sum to pay off the interim DEQ loan. So that's why it is currently 0. We have not received that money yet. So we will get roughly $3.3 million with including interest to pay off the loan. All disbursements have been accounted for now. You'll see in the spreadsheet that's just over $400,000 are missing from the proposed budget for fiscal year 22-23. The disbursements were put in the cash receipt GL. I'm not sure why they weren't put into the proper sewer fund GL. From what we can tell, it happened around the time from the transition of one finance officer to the other. I did do a quick review of the beginning fund balance. Again, these are just rough numbers without the audit being done. It does add about $600,000 in the beginning fund balance to the sewer fund. It is a little high. I went back and looked at the sewer fund numbers. Generally been about $180,000 beginning fund balance back to about 2017. So it's definitely higher than what it traditionally has been. But adding those numbers into the sewer fund is definitely taking it out of the red. Any questions? In front of you, this sheet right here that's got the red brackets and the yellow highlight on it. That is the PMR. That's the project monitoring reports put together by McCad. If you look at the bracketed part, those are the funding allocations. There were 23 total PMRs, a preliminary one before the project started, and then 21 for the end of the project The one in front of you is number 21 that I just signed, or reviewed, approved, and signed today, so they're not in the spreadsheet yet. But you will see all of the funds budgeted from each funder, as well as what was spent. You'll see that for this last one, money for our rural development grant and the CBDG grant were spent. The way money was allocated was $207,000 of our own money was spent first at the beginning of the project. Loan money was then sent out. Well, the Business Oregon stuff, the loan and the grants were together. And then the loan for the DEQ, and then the grant money was final.
Okay, so what's highlighted, because mine's not highlighted.
So the, not quite the,
All right.
yeah, so the red bars is the funding side of it. And then the third column of numbers is what was budgeted for each line for the projects, for a total of just over $8 million.
And then on that one, the $8,056,600, that's the total amount of all of the grants,
Grants and loans, yes.
grants and loans.
Yeah, and it looks like we're gonna. I think. Not quite use all of it. So this is, I believe, the final PMR. And we've done 7,664,000.
Okay, so if those are the totals, and then on the first sheet that you just, from your email that you just did, you said that the total, oh, so you're saying we're not gonna use like $800,000, is that what you're saying?
Just under 400,000.
Okay, so I see a difference of 800,000, so we still owe, there's still $400,000 in question and 400,000 we're not gonna use. And because if you take this total, this 856,600, and this total here, the 7.2959, there's a difference of like almost $800,000.
So that doesn't include, that 7.2 does not include the 200,000 of city's money.
So we get to pay ourselves back.
207,000.
And then there's 198,000 coming out with this next PMR, with a remainder of 391 that has not been spent yet.
And what's the 198?
That's what's coming out for this last monitoring report. 36,000 for the rural development grant and 160, almost 162 for the CBDG grant.
Marianne,
I just have a couple of questions. The Business Oregon loan is a loan with a forgiveness of $550,000, and you're calling that a grant? It's a loan for $1,100,000 is what it is for. There's no grant involved. It's just that we get to forgive $550,000 of that $1,100,000.
Gotcha, okay, that was never explained to me.
Because that is in the paperwork that we signed, the contract.
Okay,
And the same way with the USD Rural Development Loan, it's a loan of $4.456 million with a loan forgiveness of $1,673,353.
gotcha.
Now, on that, you're saying that we are not gonna get the $4.4 million? Because you're saying that we've only got. Well, you've got to put the grant and thing in there, that's 3,800, sorry.
That's okay.
3,800,000.
all right, knew what you meant.
I've been through a lot of numbers today and it's kind of. So I'm confused, are we not gonna use all of our 8 million? And if not, how much is the loan forgiveness for USDA then?
Based off of this, no, we're not, and the loan forgiveness amount is gonna be 610,000, but I need to go back with McKed and double check these numbers.
It's odd that we're not, I mean, I'm pleased that we're not using all the money, but
Yeah,
that just, then that loan forgiveness is dropping out when. You say we're paying 600,000, Are they giving us $600,000 forgiveness?
Correct, yeah,
Where it was
because we,
610.
where it was 1,673,000.
yeah, they're not giving us all the money, yeah.
I think that's a little bit wrong in my book, because I would question that, what they're willing to, do a loan forgiveness on, if we did not use all that money.
Mhm.
That's my question on that.
And the 610 was for which loan?
That was the USDA. And then, the sheet that you gave us, this sheet right here,
Are we there yet?
I don't know, are we there yet?
We can be, yeah,
I added up the numbers and they still don't match what's on. The expenses, so I'm still confused.
what do you mean?
Well, for example, on, the Biz Oregon for 21-22. On this, on page 1, I think it is. So you say on the, sewer facility loan biz is 118,964. And if you add up Biz Oregon, it's, 59,482. So I'm a little confused as to these numbers aren't exactly matching what you put on this, which I thought was the, what you were telling us was going to be the totals. And then you said,
Oh, do you wanna-
oh, yeah, oh, I just wanted to get it all out. I wanted to, I forgot to say that.
Let's do this one.
Okay, so for the Biz Oregon loan and grant. You are saying. Payments received in fiscal year 22-23 on this sheet does not match. The report from Cascade,
That is correct, but I have a question on that.
okay?
You got the Biz Oregon and the Biz Oregon grant with the same numbers. How does that occur?
Because the way it was processed in the PMR is 50-50 split. Every payment went towards, half of it went to the loan, or from the loan, half of it came from the grant. Every payment received was a 50-50 split.
That's weird. Okay,
Well, why is it weird? Explain why it's weird.
well, because it's a loan and all the money goes into the loan account. And then it's a forgiveness, so I'm not used to that. Because you split it and it's just creating a whole lot more paperwork in my mind. And that's why the accounts are set up the way they are, is because it was a loan. And then, Business Oregon would forgive the 550,000 of the 1,100,000 when the project was done and it was approved. They would forgive that.
How is that recorded though, other than someone just having that knowledge?
It's in the contract that we signed.
Right, but is there an accounting way, how would someone know without reading the contract?
Yeah,
Well,
my vocabulary, but you are more familiar, I can see to financial vocabulary, but in my vocabulary, forgiveness, loan forgiveness is synonymous with grant, but I.
It is synonymous with grant, but that's not what our contract said.
Okay.
If the contract said, at least when I read the contract, I didn't know if they changed it or not. Was you got a loan for $1,100,000. And when the project is done and it was approved, then Business Oregon would forgive the $550,000. If it was not finished and not approved, we're stuck with $1,100,000.
Okay, you just say one. There you go.
That was my understanding as a finance officer then at that time. So, and maybe things have changed, I don't know. But to make a grant and a loan split, that is what it is. So if you add the two together, then you might balance to the 118. Mhm. I don't come up with that, I come up with 109.
Calculator. Or, yeah.
I just use my head, and right now I'm a headache there, so.
Okay.
I don't know.
When it comes to numbers, I just, use my calculator.
Okay, 118,964.
So,
So you've added those two together in that one line item. Okay. Finish that. Later, I'd be screwed up anyway, so.
Anything else?
Well, I can't get the numbers to match no matter what we try, so.
So what numbers are you saying again that aren't matching?
Well, he also said that we haven't received, rural development
I
grant.
think the light just. went off in his head.
Okay, add the wrong numbers up. What was that?
You indicated that we had not received rural development grant money, but yet we have received. 574,257, according to your sheet. That you gave us. There's rural development. And it's 574,257.
Yes, we received grant money, but not the loan.
Okay, but why isn't it shown on the sheet here that we received that money? USDA, you're saying no actuals in 21, 22, 22, 23, or 23, 24.
Correct, because that line was reserved for the loan portion, not the grant.
Then where are you showing the grant?
In the CDBG one, the two
Okay,
grants.
to me, that is not being transparent. Saying,
Because,
because they're two different companies. Auditors don't want all the grants mixed together. You have to separate them. And like I said, it's a loan forgiveness, it's not a grant, but that's the terminology I know.
so would you rather see it labeled as loan forgiveness versus the word grant?
I would rather, this is my opinion, because as finance officer, I would have put everything in the right line items. And then made a sub sheet saying this was loan. And the loan forgiveness is only if the account is approved, if the project is approved, is my understanding. And so you have to account for them in my mind, in the USDA fund and the Biz Oregon fund. You can't combine Biz Oregon and CDBG.
Is there a way to find out when this happened?
When what happened?
All this line item stuff getting combined.
Well, I mean, now that Mary Ann's explained it, I understand the reasoning behind it. But when going through these numbers, not knowing the full backstory, it didn't make
Well,
sense. to me.
I understand.
Yeah. But I think in whatever transition between Mary Ann and Dave, things got lost, and I think that's where the mix-up started to happen. And then kind of snowballed from there. But now we're getting it
So we
straightened
can
out.
get it straightened out.
yeah, so you. Okay, so you're gonna fix it all? Refix it?
What is there to refix? I mean,
According to Mary, okay.
Well. I think it will get fixed at the auditors, because auditors won't go for that, I don't think. If they're municipal auditors, they probably wouldn't. In my mind, it should be separated in the GL right here. I think it should be changed, but that's me, I'm only one person, so. And also, while I'm talking, the disbursements you put in cash receipting. Why are we finding out what that $400,000 is?
you mean what it is?
Well, you said the disbursements we put in cash receipt GL. Okay, you put it in cash receipt, so what's the offsetting account that it's gonna show in?
I don't know, like I said, for whatever reason, it wasn't booked correctly.
Do you have a suggestion?
Well, it depends on what that 400,000 was for. I mean, I have no clue. I mean, you should put it, if it's for the sewer facilities fund, then it needs to reflect in there that we received $400,000 more somewhere. So, I don't know.
I'm not sure, but for auditing and accounting, if it was formerly accounted for under a different category by Dave, obviously we can't go back and change books, that would be not appropriate. But so I think I understand that city administrator Bennett is putting them in that way because that's how they were accounted for, and obviously McKed did some different sort of categorizing as well. But could there be such a, on this particular page, notes clarifying things? Because obviously we have two sets of auditing our old books, which say the thing that Mary Ann sounds like wasn't correct, and then auditing what we're doing now. And maybe what we want to do better in the future. So I don't know how to reconcile both of those things, other than putting notes at the bottom.
I mean, I have all this paperwork and trail to go
Right.
back to look at the auditors get to this portion. Of all the notes we need.
Okay,
Did McKed do this grant versus loan type thing?
They must have, because the AMR is their spreadsheet.
That's just, oh.
So is this as clear as it's gonna get, or is there still some?
Until we go through the auditors, yeah, I think numbers are finalized, this is as clear as it's gonna get.
one last question, on the amount that we are not using. We presume that is loan we are not taking out, is that correct?
The loan forgiveness portion, it sounds like, yes, so the grant.
And somebody approves the project? Who is that person?
It's not done yet.
Right, well, when it's done, what organization approves it?
Everybody involved, the city, the funders, the
Everybody has to sign
contractors,
off on
McKay.
Yeah.
So we're not going to turn that money away until we are approved, I presume. Because we
Yeah.
might need to use some that we
Right,
didn't.
yeah.
They can't have it.
Right, right. Sorry, not yet, we're hanging on to it.
Yes.
Not yet, just clarify.
Okay.
So is it my understanding, I'm sorry, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, that you get the grant money or the loan forgiveness money at the same time you get the loan?
For Visit Oregon, yes,
But not you, the USD or the CBDG?
correct, yeah, if you look at this big sheet, there's a pattern. I mean, we used our money first, and then the Visit Oregon money, along with the DEQ money. And then the loan forgiveness / grant money has been used last at the end of the project, both for the CBDG and the rural development. So they front load everything with the loan, with the money we have to pay back. I'm gonna assume in the hopes of free money, we wouldn't actually spend. That way they can get all the interest back that we possibly can. I mean, it could be wrong, but that's just what I'm assuming.
Another question. You indicate that our total expenses are $7,664,681.78.
According to this latest PMR, yes,
Okay, and we have 391,000 yet to spend.
correct.
And do we know how much our little to-do list is gonna cost?
That's what we've already finished up.
You finished it up, so we're not spending the 391.
No, I don't believe so. I need to double check. Yeah, I'm gonna assume that was contingency money that just wasn't spent.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
I mean, for a project this big, we're talking $1 million in contingency funds.
Well, I know there was a lot of
Yeah, it was
contingency.
a lot.
Okay, that answers that question.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the project, there's a few hiccups, some compressors aren't working right, UV lights are acting up, but I mean, the project is done.
Okay,
We're finalizing the paperwork.
And I thought there was some personal thing that wasn't,
They're fixing,
no, there.
they're,
Yeah, there's 2 or 3 things that keep acting up, but they're wrapping them up, so.
I'm glad we're getting all that. Gone through.
Yes,
Or
I think I
getting done.
I made it very clear to Henderson Perry, we were not happy with the way things were going and we need to fix it, so.
Okay, good, thank you. All right, we ready? Next? Or
I think that's about all.
that's it, that's it?
I would like to ask though, because there was one more thing that there was an issue in the budget, and that was the $7,000 for the electric department for seniors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I talked to Carrie and didn't know anything about it. She said she knew it was money from McCack and the 3,000 that she knew about, so.
the DL will show you whether we've used it all.
So we've only spent $150 in that line.
Correct, she goes into it, selects a drop down menu and it automatically applies. I don't know anything else, I'll do some more data.
I think he's in there, he's up there. As soon as you sit down, we're gonna leave.
We're done. We're done. It's fine.
Sorry, like.
That's all right. You made it.
Did you? look
It's
at-
okay,
did
you were in
do you have any questions?
Sorry.
You were in
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't, but I would love to hear the pitch.
Well, okay,
Well,
I don't wanna say my pitch again.
yeah, say a bit.
I don't even know what my pitch was.
It's recorded.
You can say your.
I think our biggest concern was that the loan forgiveness somehow matches into being the word grants.
And
That
it was weirdly accounted for that way, where it was like, this is grant money and this is not grant money, but actually it's all a loan money that turns into loan forgiveness once it's finished.
Right, right,
But technically it's not split. But it was split, and then it was split into the 2 different the 2 different loans were had the grant money split into the same line. So all the money technically adds up, but it's kind of in a weird,
Not really,
no,
but,
sorry, we got some.
basically, when we took out the loan for Business Oregon, it was a $1.1 million loan. With, if the project is finished and passed, it was a loan forgiveness of $550,000.
okay,
And the same way with USDA Rural Development, we borrowed $4.4 million. And loan forgiveness was 1.6.
okay, so not 50%.
No,
Okay,
and it's not a grant, it's a loan forgiveness. To me, a grant is something different. And I don't like combining 2 grants, CBDG and Business Oregon. It's not transparent,
right,
so you don't know what your grants, what the total of the grants are,
right,
number one, but
Because they get muddled together.
they get muddled together and then it's not transparent to show what part is a grant that we forget or loan that we forgot. You know what I'm saying, loan forgiveness.
right.
So terminology is a big issue.
Yeah, what was the account, how was he described, the accountant described, or CFO now guy?
What do you mean described it?
Did he describe it as a grant or as a?
No, this is all coming from McCack and my interpretation of everything.
So he didn't look at it?
He double checked the math, but I did 95% of this work.
And Bernard, it sounds like McCad, who
it's okay.
was in charge of allocated things under different subheadings than we would. And then also, it sounds like the transition when Dave became financial person here after Marion, he did different things. So obviously we can't change the books from what Dave wrote. But Jordan has created a lot of documents to try and explain it. And so that's what I'm understanding as well. If I said that wrong, somebody please correct me.
I mean, we technically can't change the books until the audits, then we can do journal entries.
But we can scratch out what he wrote.
You know,
We have to
there's a
do-
trail, yeah, notes where we moved it on, but.
You have to do a trail of what you've done,
Yeah.
Right.
so the auditors can follow it.
So is that something that should be corrected before the auditors get to it? I mean, I know you feel that way,
Well, that's because I want to do everything I can to get the audit to going faster. Because if you have any delays, it just costs more money, so you try to do your books so that they can go through them real quick. There's no questions about what's happening. Right now, I would say they have a lot of questions. Think, so, that's just my feelings of it, so.
Bernard, any questions or
Well, I
comments?
would wanna hear kind of an accountant's take, I mean. What Mary Ann is saying seems to make sense to me, that a grant is different than loan forgiveness.
Yeah.
And that's generally how an accountant would describe that. You know, in your budget, and all your accounting. Documents, so. That's what I wanted to get to the bottom of. And, yeah, that's what I would want the CFO guy to make a,
But you know, if McKed is doing it as you see on this paper with the red line, they are calling you grants, and I think that's wrong, but that's what McKed has done.
mhm.
Unless McKed knows something that they changed it. You know, after I was here. Which I don't know why they would, but.
so did you read the contract, Jordan, to see if it's?
I think I perused it to get the amounts, but didn't read that deep into it. I have to look again.
Bernard's name. Okay. So he doesn't have to be pushed.
Yeah, I know you did that. Right.
There you go. Okay, well. So back to the, I'm sorry, we kind of got distracted by. Bernard, so back to the, so we have only $160 was paid out from the electrical department for senior subsidy.
Correct, yeah, I need to do more digging into that.
Okay. Well, when you get that figured out, will you share that with the budget committee?
Yeah. I don't know when I'll get to it, but yeah, I'll dig into it.
Okay, and then when you. So are you gonna get more answers on what you presented tonight, or is this is it?
This is it.
It would be curious, I would be interested in hearing what the contract says.
Yeah, I mean. As a member of the committee, I think we should get to the bottom of this and resolve kind of what Mary Ann is pointing out here. In my mind, that's a meeting with. Jordan, the CFO now, accountant, and McKed, and the three of them sit down and go, can we make sure our terminology is accurate here as we're reflecting our books, and they should all be in agreement. And then we get a little report from
Yeah.
CFO now and or Jordan saying, this is how the result of that meeting,
Yeah.
and give clarity or maybe correction to what Mary Ann is
I mean,
pointing
maybe
out.
they changed the verbiage.
Again, that's
not.
possible, but I'd like that meeting to take place, so. You know, we're all in agreement on, whether it's a loan forgiveness or grant or whatever, you know,
And how to document it.
right, and how it should be labeled.
Okay.
That would be my request, if the member.
Yeah, bare minimum before the audit occurs
Yeah.
on this time frame of cash, because I do agree with Bernard, and like we don't want to be like left hanging in the wind because things didn't get handed over correctly. And we're seeing it now, which is important, that we're seeing it now, but. We should, we need to make sure that everything is. At least here with McKed's, like. At bare minimum, McKed's like, why they put things the way they did, because if they're handling some of this money for us. And writing it out, they should have at least a trail of why they did it the way they did, because. If their interpretation of our contract is different than. What we think it is, then that's important to know, because if we're operating under different. Rules, then the auditors can go. Why are these two different numbers the way that they are, because one would make sense on one way and one would make sense a different way, but if they're not.
Makes sense.
There's no, we don't know the trail, then it's gonna be hard. For the auditor to know the trail, because. We can give them what we know.
Correct.
So that sounds reasonable already, that you now CFO guy and McKed.
Yeah.
Getting that, okay, but, so,
Yeah, and
Sound
then,
good?
and then give us and then we get an update.
send that an
Yes, I can do
email.
that.
And then also the line item for the electric senior, senior.
Subsidized.
Subsidized for the
Yeah,
low income.
okay. Is it low income or senior?
It's usually senior because you have to be a certain age to apply for
Thank you.
it.
So I did have it right.
We did.
So anything else? No, we can expect a report sometime in the, probably not very near future.
Sometime in the next couple months, yeah,
Okay, so by the end of summer,
probably, yeah.
September, okay. I will put it on the calendar to make sure that we. The poking and prodding continues. Poke and prod, gotta poke and prod, sometimes you gotta poke and prod.
But not too distant.
I'll do it myself.
Now, what is that in our blood?
Okay, so if there's no more discussion, are we adjourning or just? Building the meeting?
I thought we couldn't adjourn.
Huh?
I thought we couldn't.
Yeah.
To be sure you want to come back, so you have to notice it again. Or if you don't adjourn,
Okay, so a
and
meeting is,
you call it, you don't have to.
I guess I need a,
Complete for this evening.
yeah, I guess I need a motion to. Complete the meeting for this evening. Yeah.
Motion.
Okay, in a second,
I'll second.
okay. So. Should get that written down in the notes.
Yep.
All this, do we need to do a roll call?
So,
Yeah, all in favor?
yes.
Yeah, so we were all in favor.
Check.
Yeah. All right,